in and have a good amount of them.
I think we dropped stream.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there
think
we
it
go.
dropped there for a second, and we're back now. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll fix it on post production. So you were talking about now. I noticed that like one of the things on there, it says like your sites are immune to no escape. Why did you guys decide on going with these diamond sites over unique planetary sites? And whose
So one of
idea
the
was
things,
that?
so that was my idea.
Okay.
So one of the things that I wanted to do is like I watch the Clone Wars show with my kids all the time. Like we've watched
Mm-hmm.
every episode a
Nice.
lot. My wife and kids, we all really like it. Um, and one of the things that happens is they just go to a new planet all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want the objective to be just focused on one location or one system. Like it was all over the galaxy. And
Okay.
so I put this in one of the early posts that the same battle is going on throughout the galaxy, but the circumstances are a little different on each system. So that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of the idea that you would choose which system you were going to be focused on, and then there would be a card like Battle of Geonosis or Battle of Christophsis
Mm-hmm.
that would change the deck slightly, so things would play out a little differently, but you'd be able to choose where you wanted to fight. But then we would need diamond sites because we're not going to create like 5 locations for each system that you could
Mm-hmm.
do. So we needed some diamond sites to be able to
Okay.
like accommodate that.
And I noticed that this deck and the objective itself really doesn't pool a lot of like the locations. Like I noticed that you're like, how do you get your locations?
Just check the clone command center if you want to just scroll down on that spoiler list. That's your key right there.
Okay. And there it is. So you do start with that on the table. What made you guys decide to go with the Camino site? Was that just to get them because it was thematic?
I believe we needed activation, and then we said, well, what's a good way of doing that? So with the Camino site, you can get the Twix, and then if you're into it, you can pull other Camino sites too. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's competitive. But if you want to have fun with Camino, go ahead.
Okay.
I can't remember the reason. I bet Wayne or Adam remembers the reason we didn't want to allow the Camino system.
Yeah, that would become pretty much a standard. Pretty much every deck would likely turn into the turn one Camino into the Twix, just because it's so efficient. You're
Mm-hmm.
running clones anyway for the drain -1. It would. We didn't want every deck to have it, so we just didn't add it.
Okay.
Yeah. I would also add, if you really do love the Camino system start, it's never been like a great deck, but if you really want to play it, there's some help in here. This set will make your Camino system start a little bit better with some of the cards like Security Control and probably
Mm-hmm.
a few others, the Clone Pilot, etc.
And speaking of Security Patrol, I believe I was sent over the image for that. I know it doesn't look like it's going to be a new image for the PC and everything. However, um, I mean, I think this is going to be a useful effect. And honestly, like just looking at it, I know this could be a helper for a deck that Adam, Robbie, and I like.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Did you guys like think about that? Like you guys are making clone episode 1 stuff. We already have a kind of a good deck in WAP. Where any thoughts given to like boosting WAP by making some of these new stuff?
Well, I'll just chime in that it's Security Control V on purpose so that you can't stack the original Security Control. You have to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Wayne or Adam can comment more on the actual usefulness of this in WAP, perhaps.
I'm also a WAP fan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
as we talked about earlier.
Sorry to bring up bad memories.
But yeah, it I did consider that with a lot of the cards, and it's not one of the things we wanted is the open-endedness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's a solid card, obviously, but to give up Jedi Business, the fully immune mace, the Qui-Gon deploy -1. You do give up a lot in not using Jedi Business. And also, you could already, for like a blaster version, you could already use Saitor to get the blasters for
True.
Amidala, Panaka. So it's not really doing too much more. The not canceling clone game text is nice. But again, fully immune mace and cheaper Qui-Gon is also really, really solid.
Well, what about playing it over Walkling? I know like playing a light side deck without Walkling is like kind of like a forbidden thing at this point. And I don't think anybody actually wants to play a game without Walkling. But why not get rid of Walkling?
I try it. Why not? But I don't know. Walkling's pretty solid as well. Pull disarmed. No, it's you can't go wrong with Walkling.
I know, but every deck plays Walkling.
For good reason.
Let's get rid of it. Get some new blood out there. I want to see something new besides Walkling in every deck.
I think that's going to require a Walkling errata, to be honest.
Let's blanket completely. Blanket.
It's only survived mostly since the very beginning.
I know. Well, since it was published years and years and eons ago. But I mean, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into like the whole blanking Walkling thing. I know people feel they care about the little bear, but that's besides the point. Let's get back into our. So let's get back into like discussing this new objective. So you guys went with Geonosis and Christophsis. Why those two systems in particular? Like I know Geonosis started the war and everything, but why Christophsis on top of that?
So if you look on Wikipedia, there's an article for the Clone Wars, and then on the right-hand side, there's a list of all of the major battles. The first one is the Battle of Geonosis, the second one is the Battle of Christophsis. And those are also the only two systems that have the second Battle of Geonosis and second Battle of Christophsis on the list. So that was part of why.
Okay.
I would add Geonosis is shown in the movies. At least one member of the design team said something like, try to focus on stuff from the movies just because it's, well known to everyone. So we're like, okay, Geonosis is going to be a go-to then if we're keeping the movies in mind. And then Christophsis, I think, is the original. That's the Clone Wars movie battle. So it's, kind of where it all started. So that makes it a big focus.
What about Utapau?
That was probably the next in line, but we didn't get to this pod's already huge, so we're not going to get to do 3 systems, at least not yet, maybe someday in the future. It's definitely something that would be, I think, next up for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, I think, Adam, didn't you have like 2 or 3 other systems when we first started all this?
Yeah, Ryloth was another one in there. I had ideas for a few others. Yeah. I mean, I really wanted one from the movies, which obviously Geonosis just makes sense. And then I wanted one that was more from the Clone Wars show. And so Christophsis I thought made sense.
So you mentioned it. Like, what other systems do you really want to see? Like, what other sites and systems would you like to see with this objective?
There are a lot. Malastare, I think, would be interesting. They have the Zillo Beast, like the huge creature, so that could be more creature focused or something. I don't
know. That's what we need.
I don't know.
I don't know if anybody watched Fatty's latest video where he did like those whole like top 15 creatures. Give him more creatures to put on his videos. That'd be great.
Or like, is it Ryloth, Utapau? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Ryloth or Umbaru would also be 2 solid choices.
Umbaru, which one was that?
That's the Clone Wars episodes. It's kind of the dark planet, Ponkrell, 501st in it. Okay. So, and Greg, any planets that you want to see in particular?
I would stick with Utapau as being again the next, but yeah. The General Ponkrell is definitely like a fan favorite character, so Umbaru is a nice idea too. Yeah.
Okay.
And we definitely left things open so that it's not that hard to add a new a couple new locations, and then you can play the deck on whatever other system. So if design wants to do that, it won't be that hard.
Or feel free to bring us back to do it. I'd be thrilled.
Yes.
Yep.
So we got some more images really quick before we go any further. I really want to show these off because Greg was so kind to send them over before the show. The first one is Generation Armor, or Generation 1 Armor Always Holds Up, which is a Destiny 4 used interrupt. Clones get armor +2, cancel you are beaten. If a clone is in battle, cancel an attempt by an opponent to target your character to be lost. So I believe that stops Force Lightning, Dr. E, or Dr. Evazan, and Pawn the Baba. Any other cards that stops?
DVD lots.
Sniper.
Okay. I always
Sniper
Actually-
Torch Strike.
Actually, does that? Oh yeah, using the combo to make your character
Yeah.
immediately lost. Yeah, sure.
okay.
It wouldn't work on like a control phase sniper, I don't believe, as that's an attempt to hit.
Well,
And
it's in battle.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it has to be in battle anyway. So
Oh,
like
okay.
Force
Oh, okay.
Lightning outside of battle, it doesn't protect against
Oh,
that
okay.
either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right.
And then if you just drew a clone for Destiny, you add one to it. I like that it just doesn't say cancel and redraw. Was that like on purpose?
Yeah, so at one point, Security Control Virtual had text that it added one to the Destiny of your non-unique clones. But we
Mhm.
took that off because it was a little too good. But then I thought that made the average Destiny, now you're drawing a bunch of 3s because that's usually the Destiny of clones.
Mhm.
So being able to add one, it seemed useful. That's kind of why I wanted that on here.
I mean, if you're playing 5s, you make them into a 6.
That is true.
And I know that Chris Kelly has always said drawing a 6 is the best feeling in Star Wars.
Yep.
So
I remember Wayne, you had some opinions on this card, and then you play tested with it a bunch, and your opinions started to shift. Can you like remind me what that was?
Yeah. This was actually one of the later cards we added.
Okay.
After most of the latest changes you see, and one of the biggest weaknesses to the deck is removal. Like especially I don't know how deep I can go into it, but there was a card that got pushed to the next set that kind of revolved around Naboo, well, potentially around Naboo and the 3/2, and between things like Lord Sidious, clones going used pile, Force
Okay.
Lightning. I mean, it was just it was bad. So
bad in a good way or bad in just
bad for the clones.
okay, good.
And again, that was we wanted to make it. We wanted to try and make the clones playable, not something that you're
Okay.
just gonna skip over and make it a mains deck. So when I think it was Adam first put the idea up for the card, I figured that there really wouldn't be much use for the +2 armor because you'd want to just hold it and make sure they don't go lost.
Mm.
But the first like 3 times I used it was for the extra armor. So
Okay.
yeah, I was it's a well-rounded card.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I know we have our rules advocate here, so this is like the perfect time to ask this question. Can you play that in response to once your opponent draws the Destiny?
No, that's too late. You're gonna need to, if you want to add armor, you're gonna have to do that in advance.
Okay. Sorry, I've been playing a little bit too much Magic. And the whole stack ladder thing is just always in my brain. Like, going between games is not fun. Okay, so the next card we're going to show is I like this one just because one, it's a good image, and two, more episode 1 starships is a good thing. We got the Resolute. So this is a Ventnor class attack cruiser. Power 7, armor 6, hyperspeed 4. Deploys for 6, forfeits for 7. May add 5 pilots, 5 passengers, 5 vehicles, 5 starters. Why 5s? Like I'm just seeing 5s all throughout that thing. And then we got permanent pilot, provides ability of 2, while Anakin or Yularen piloting, immune to attrition less than 5. There's another one. And your clone army cards at related sites are power +1. Yeah, I agree. Bill in the chat says it needs to download CT5555. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember why I made all of the capacity numbers 5, but that's
Looks
how
nice.
it ended up. But I like this one because it supports all of your cards. Like, it's in space, but it's helping you on the ground because it makes all of your clones and your Jedi and Padawans at related sites. It makes them power +1.
Okay. Yeah, and the fact that I like that it gives you a little bit of an incentive to play Anakin up in space, but we all know that Anakin's going to be on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, in a pinch, if it comes down that you are just trying to hold space and you're okay on the ground, maybe he'll find himself up there once in a while. I remember that the power stat was influenced because we needed it to be stronger than an acclimator. Is that right? Is that
Yes.
my memory correct?
Yeah, I wanted it. Yeah, because we talked about that, like making it deploy less and have less power, but it's way bigger than an acclimator. It has to have more power and cost more to deploy.
Okay.
So.
And then after that, our next card, I think we're going to go. Let's look at the other one, the Endurance, which is another Destiny 2 ship that is power 7, armor 6, hyperspeed 4. Comes down for 6, forfeits for 7. May add 5 pilots, 5 passengers, 5 vehicles, and 5 starfighters. Permanent pilot provides ability of 2. Killian, Mace, and clones deploy -1 and shuttle for free here, or shuttle from here for free, and then immune to attrition less than 3. So right off the bat, I got to ask, why is this one only immune to attrition less than 3?
Well, I don't know why it's less than the Resolute, but I will note that we haven't talked about Galactic Republic Navy yet, which adds +1 immunity if you need a little bit of a boost. We haven't talked about the clone pilot yet, which forfeits for a nice amount depending how you're playing the deck.
I think we got him. I was going to say, I think we got an image of him to show next. So
okay, depending on if you're playing security control, he's going to forfeit for 4 or 5. So that's going to cover you. If your opponent draws a 6, that's when you start to sweat. But my Endurance is one of my favorite cards, not because of that stuff, but because of this deploy -1 and shuttle down for free. It's so cool. It feels awesome, like you're deploying your army and dispatching them down, because you deploy them to the ship -1, and then in your move phase you shuttle them down to their sites wherever they're going to go fight. It feels really cool. You can kind of hum some Star Wars music while you do that.
I was thinking something else, other music, but yeah. I was thinking
it's also good to mention Admiral Killian, who's already out, makes it immune less than 4. So.
Oh, okay.
What does Killian do? I do not remember that.
Laid on top of things.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into this.
Oh, right. Okay, so he makes it -4. I'm sorry, less than 4. And then if you've got Galactic Republic Navy,
then it's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, it can't be as good as Yularen's ship, because that's like the main Republic cruiser in the early seasons.
And then we also in the chat said that we canonically that's the ship that got blown up by Boba Fett. Okay. A little bit more interesting. And then we did just mention him, the clone pilot. Power 1, ability 2, armor 3, forfeit 2, deploys for 2, forfeit 3, adds 2 to power and 1 to the defense of anything he pilots while piloting a clone army, starship, or vehicle. Forfeit +1 and draws 1 battle destiny if unable to otherwise. If stacked face up on cloning cylinders, may turn face down to cancel lateral damage. Yeah, I see what you're saying about the whole getting that forfeit bonus. 1 from piloting and 2 from the security control. Why more lateral damage hate?
So we talked early on in the pod about what we wanted to do, and we threw out a bunch of ideas. We used some of them, and one of the main things is we wanted to use cloning cylinders in a more interesting way.
Okay.
And so we talked about if they're stacked face up, well, you can turn them face down because they're going to turn back up on the next turn. And this is the only card that made it all the way through. And so
Okay.
for why it cancels lateral damage is because it fit on the card.
I
Just
like that. Okay.
Yeah, there were definitely other ideas about like flipping car. I call it the Camino scientist or Camino mad scientist like side theme. It'd be cool to do someday if you want to play around more with your cloning cylinders. But this is the only guy right now that plays around with cloning cylinders.
Okay.
Also, this guy has a neat little hint of clone army. He mentions clone army vehicles. We didn't get to do that, but that'd be like an awesome thing to add. I know I've seen at least one player say like, "Come on, bring on those vehicles, those clone tanks or whatever they're called." Oh yeah, that's right. And we have the hated legacy cards, the ATRTs.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
got to get ATRTs back.
Just because of the images and stuff. Like I have a foil one, but no, those things were way too strong. Like how they were.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't remember, the ATRT reacted around. It pulled a cannon that hit everything at Destiny +2 greater than ability and made them forfeit 0. And meanwhile, the other one, the ATTE, drew 2 if unable to otherwise. It just needed a clone to do that. So
Well, I
they
mean,
were
that one I don't think was too bad.
only because that was becoming like kind of standard in Legacy. Like, oh, draw 2 if unable. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That was just on like every other card. So.
Yeah. I mean, it all started with Deed. So we could just blame Decipher for that one. Like, for those who don't, yeah, the ATRT. I was thinking of not the ATTE. What was the
ATRT or ATTE?
Yeah, ATRT is what everyone hated at the end of Legacy. Partly because it's power 3, and then you could add anyone as a pilot, and it didn't make them power 0 like speeder bikes or whatever. So they got to add their power bonus on top of their power. So if someone adds 3 to power and is power 6, they're adding 9. So, and then the weapon, like it was just.
No, I was thinking of the flying vehicle.
Oh yeah, the one that had. It was like Republic gunship or something like that.
Yeah.
Wingship maybe.
That's the one. Yeah.
Republic gunship wing. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the Republic gunship, the wing, and then
Wow, I forgot that one existed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember that one. Impressive.
Yeah, permanent pilot provides ability of 6, and immune lesson to 5. Yeah, that was the one that I specifically remembered because I have a foil one. But
Nice.
So, and then as for we have a few more images. The next one, we just mentioned him, is Admiral Yularen. Power 3 while piloting, or adds 3, power 3, ability 3, while piloting a clone army starship, capital starship, adds 1 battle destiny, and its power may not be reduced by opponent. While with Anakin or while piloting the Resolute, opponent may not cancel or substitute battle destiny draws here. So, definitely, like, I think he's a solid admiral. I definitely like getting more admirals into light side, especially with these this clone army objective.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this guy is that he uses the text from later in his life when he's Colonel Wolf Yularen. The part about not being able to reduce the power of the starship he's piloting. That's why that text is on there, because his dark side virtual card, it does that. So I thought that was really fun that it's on both of him.
That's fitting. I mean, I just like him because like we've seen him progress through the years from an admiral down to a colonel, like,
and his ability gets lower.
Yeah. Like you went down in rank? Like, did you take a huge pay cut?
Wayne, we were just talking about this like a week ago.
Last week.
Yeah, we're not sure. Like the ranks are so weird, and those colored squares that they wear, on their chest it doesn't all really make sense. But he is like the head of the ISB, sitting in the elite council with what was that? What's that group called? Something Council, not Secret Council. What is that? In any
That was,
case,
that was a deck in Legacy as well. The
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there was a name for that deck.
There were some good cards. There were
Something,
some fun
something,
stuff
the
in
something
Legacy.
Council. Yeah, so he's definitely up there, even if his rank is called Colonel.
Yeah. And then I think this might be the last card image that we have for tonight. And it is the Battle of Christophus. If a Christophus location on table, deploy on table. Once per turn, if deployed, a clone to Christophus may draw the top card of your use pile. Once per turn, if your clone in battle with a Jedi or Padawan may lose one force to add one destiny to total power. So I like the image, just the clones walking around, the debris and everything. That looks good as well. So now I will ask this: like we have the two different ways to go essentially with Geonosis and Christophus. Which one do you guys prefer?
Wayne, you
I've
go.
Yeah, this is
but
like
yeah,
Wayne.
I'm thinking how to word it. I like both. Christophsis is where I more lean towards as I've played it more. But there have been games where I wished I was playing the other one, just depending on how the game went. So, you know, they feel at a good spot. But Christophsis is usually where I lean.
Okay.
I think that if you're expecting a really tough fight on the ground, I think Geonosis probably helps you more. Like that text where you subtract 2 with Yoda is probably going to help you hold out on the ground. And I think Christophsis is a little bit more well-rounded. It's going to help you more in space. I think the Christophsis system text helps you hold that system because the opponent deploys +1 there or moves +1. So it's a little harder for them to just come in and kick you off the system. They're going to be a little bit slower at doing that. So that's how I would decide if I was trying to pick which one. I would ask myself, do I think my opponent's going to give me a harder time on the ground or in space?
Okay. Adam, so going forward, like what cards do you that we already have do you think just fit into this type of like this objective? Or is there any ones that like really stand out that are just like, or any hidden
so
cards?
existing cards.
Yeah.
So the budget version of Mace, like the new Mace, he's a clone army general and he helps out your clones. So he's probably actually better than the other version of Mace in this deck. And then there are a few other like Jedi. So I mean, General Kenobi is obvious. Like he pulls clones, but
Ayla Secura is a big one.
Really?
yeah, adding a Battle Destiny with clones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's going to be really good in the deck, I think.
Okay.
Was mentioned For the Republic was mentioned earlier. You're going to want a few copies of that.
And I know that I know it's like one of those cards that not a lot of people say. Like, do you play Rebel Leadership? Do you play the combo version or the original version, or both?
I only played the original.
Okay.
Yeah, being able to add a Battle Destiny is just more important than any of the other text on the other version. But yeah, you'll definitely use that in this deck to get General Kenobi and then either of the admirals.
Okay.
Wayne, did you use Ahsoka with lightsabers since she has a clone army icon, or does that not really provide much benefit?
Yeah, no, especially she was. Another thing that we changed is originally we didn't have Padawan in the game text of the cards, but it just felt wrong playing it and Anakin and Ahsoka unless you use the Jedi Anakin, who's pretty expensive to be deploying with other cards. It just didn't feel right not including them, so we adjusted text around and to fit Padawan in there, and yeah, Ahsoka with sabers is definitely a decent include.
So, and now you mentioned it, like the Jedi Anakin he costs a lot. Are we thinking about like maybe coming out with like helper cards to put him in over the Padawan. I mean, I know the Padawan is like really, really strong, but there's got to be a reason to play this Jedi Knight Anakin.
Well, the Grievous run and hide effect does make him deploy -1, assuming
Okay.
you or even if you have it on a system, he's deploy -1. But you're generally hoping that you get that on your objective quick, so you're not always using that text for long.
Okay.
But it doesn't. It didn't. At least when I was playing it, he was always just too expensive that it rarely worked out. And a Padawan Anakin is just such a solid character anyway, so you don't really. It's still,
Okay.
maybe design can get a clone specific one for us in a future set.
Yeah, agreed. I think the Jedi Anakin is maybe not the right fit for the deck, but it like a third Anakin persona that does fit, I could see that.
What, General Anakin?
Yeah, why not?
Just making rebel leadership even better.
Immune to rebel leadership.
Yeah, and so another thing is like we mentioned Ahsoka with the lightsabers. Would you guys like to see like a Commander Ahsoka?
Yes, I would. I would. We looked at that. We kind of wanted to do it, but the pod was getting gigantic, and I don't remember exactly what made us back off, but we were just in too deep. It was like maybe in the future that can be
Okay.
done.
So, what would you like to see as a Commander Ahsoka?
Oh, I don't know. Do we have a design? Did we have a design proposed? I don't remember.
Actually, I posted one. Are we allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah,
Okay.
if you have
What
it.
did I?
This
I
way,
actually,
this way it gets out to the public, and anybody who has like a V card will be like, "Oh man, I want to make a Commander Ahsoka for this deck."
Yeah, this is so I made just an idea. We didn't even, it didn't get very far. Not even really talking about changing it up, but I did Citizen Tano, either Citizen or Commander you could do.
Okay.
Adds 1 battle destiny with Maul, a Mandalorian, or a clone. Once per battle here, may place a just forfeited unique clone face down on cloning cylinders. Immune less than 5.
Okay, that's different.
Obviously strong.
Yeah.
This was when we were trying to increase the clone utility more. Other cards went in instead, and so again, we didn't really. Obviously, even when I'm reading it now, I'm like, wow, that was pretty strong.
I don't know. Like, I mean, is it any stronger than the Rebel Ahsoka?
Yeah, I mean,
she's just nuts. She's one of the.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of like Rey, I would say she's one of the strongest characters I've seen for light side.
oh yeah, but you can't use her in the deck, so
Yeah.
and maybe that's a reason why it's okay to make another strong version, right? Because
Yeah.
if it doesn't compete, then yeah, I mean a Commander Tano would be pretty cool. Maybe a card that does something with commanders. I don't know.
Okay. Now, I was gonna say, are you guys afraid of like seeing a lot of Admiral orders in this type of a deck? Because I know they kind of are like they're like one of those cards that like is a big boogeyman that I can see. Like I know a lot of the decks out there, like OA has you can't play certain ones, Imperial Entanglements you can't play them at all. No Idea says you can't play a certain one. Are you guys like worried about anybody breaking this objective with, say, Admiral's orders?
I don't think so. Because like capital support, pinging for generals, you only have General Kenobi. I mean, that's not doing that much. Like it's helping the immunity of your starships, but if you want to play that, go for it. The one that increases the defense value and deploy, or it decreases the deploy, increases the defense value of your non-pilot warriors, doesn't help any of your Jedi in this deck because the objective makes all of your Jedi into pilots.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, Master Windu's not a general. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did talk about making a general Windu at one point, but
Oh no.
We also talked. One thing that we talked about was we asked, hey, can we just errata some of these Jedi? Like, can we throw a clone? Can we throw like a clone army icon onto who was it? Like Plo Koon, not Plo Koon.
Yeah,
Who's
Plo
yeah,
Koon.
Plo Koon and Kit Fisto.
Kit Fisto's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much errata floating around. It wasn't justifiable to.
But it doesn't
like,
it doesn't change the text or anything. It just makes
Ah.
it viable in a deck that.
Yeah,
makes
but
sense.
also when we proposed that, it was actually right after that sweet OCSAI came out. So we're like, oh, but then we gotta switch out all the foils.
So
So,
you know what?
It was
No,
also
no.
right around set 20 with all the errata, the mass errata. So it was like bad
That's fair.
timing to request it at that moment.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, all they got to do is make like little foil stickers. You just put it on the card.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
I think we asked if we could like make certain clones stronger too, but that led to security control to make them stronger instead.
That's fair.
Yeah, design wanted us to see what we could do with the current clones, but we had some
yeah.
restricted clone ideas, a la B2 battle droids for Dark.
Okay. I'm excited to see stuff like the Bad Batch. Who's the clone that in the Bad Batch that started out as like an ARC trooper? Like I want to see ARC troopers.
Echo.
Echo.
I want to. Dang it. I want to see other clones that we see in the cartoons. I want to see some of the stuff that progressive. So I love this theme. I cannot wait to play it. So, gentlemen, thank you to your team. Now, before we end, we got one last thing to do, and I don't think this is going to be fair because you guys got the trivia guru knows everything Star Wars here to help you. But we're going to do it anyways. We got a lore challenge I got a lore challenge set up for you guys.
Okay.
So, what I'll do is you're going to get 45 seconds for the lore challenge. I'll read it. After I read it, you'll have the option of picking the set or the type of card. After I give you that, you'll have 45 seconds to name it. You can talk amongst yourselves, as long as, and then I will need a consensus on what you guys agree upon.
Are you gonna show it? Should I close out a Twitch?
I will. I'm going to put the lore up, but not the actual card,
Okay.
so you guys can actually see it. Your lore challenge: reroute all power to the energy shield. We've got to hold them till all transports are away. Would you guys like the set or the type?
I feel like I can guess the set pretty easily.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the type will be
it's-
more helpful.
Yeah, it seemed like something like evacuation control or something.
That's my first guess, but
It
if
is an effect.
oh, yeah, I'm also thinking evacuation control.
Or
but-
isn't there?
Hold on.
yeah, let's
Your
not
45
lock it in yet.
Your 45 seconds start now.
Isn't there also a transport away
Yep.
card?
Yeah, the first
Yeah, the
transport is
transport
away. Is an effect as well, but I don't think this is a good lure for the first transport is away.
Right.
Anything else fit? An effect. What other effects are?
No, those are the only two I got off the top of my head.
I'm ready to lock in evacuation control then.
Yeah, I think so.
Do I have an agreement from all three of you?
Yeah, I'll go with it as well.
Okay. Bill in the chat says nice, Dan, and I hate to say it, you guys are wrong.
What?
Hoth Sentry from Special Edition.
Whoa!
Wow.
Should have asked for the set. Well, if we
Yeah.
asked for the set, I don't know if I would
I
have
would have
gotten
said
it.
Special Edition. I think it would have been a little closer.
Yeah, no, that set probably would have been better.
It would have probably just stumped me. Like I wouldn't have even had an answer.
I will say this: I specifically went with a card with Hoth in it just because Adam's here. I typed Hoth
Yeah.
into Scomplink and was like, "Oh, this one looks like it's going to get them."
Nice.
Well done.
Yep, it worked.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming on. It's really good to hear about like what's going on with how you guys created all this stuff. I can't wait to play this. And for those who are wondering, It comes out Monday on GEMP. Is that? I mean, that's
It should
correct.
be very, very early Monday.
So
I usually restart GEMP at like 1 or 2 a.m. my time, which is like what,
Oh.
4 Eastern or something.
So what I'm
That's
hearing
when people
is
Also a lot
stop
of people
playing.
too.
So
everybody take off Monday, play games on GEMP, crash the server. Let's go.
Please do not crash the server.
yes,
But get your clone cards out. It's time. So when is the PDF going to come out? Do we know that?
That should also be Monday.
Ooh.
Yep.
Monday is a federal holiday, but not everybody can work on. Not everybody gets off on Monday.
Right.
Bill. Ruins everything. Bill Kafer. But thank you guys for joining us. Next week we'll have another exciting episode. I believe we're going to talk to either the winner of the Grievous Gambit or the winner of Alderaan Regionals. That looked like it was a fun event. Had 14 people, I want to say, or 10 people. 10 people, because Grievous Gambit has 14. So we'll talk to either one of those winners, maybe both. So until then, everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Sign up for the Grievous Gambit. It's going to be fun. It's your last chance to play Tom's Nines decks. So good night, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. And as always, may the force be with you.
Thank you.